Hello everyone. Welcome on in. Alrighty, we are gonna get started just really quick here. Let's see. I think I'm gonna have an ad soon, but hopefully we can get through the intro without the ad. Welcome everybody. If you guys are watching this later on, post live, thank you all for being here. We're gonna start off today, the first day of the month of May. Today is this whole month is going to be mental health awareness month, if I can speak correctly. Thank you. And we're going to be focusing on things that kind of help people understand perspectives of mental health that maybe they didn't see before, or they are new to mental health, or they are struggling with something that they don't understand, and then through explanation of their own, bringing perspective to it helps them understand more, things like that. Mental health for me has been like a huge deal, so we're gonna make sure that everyone feels supported in that regard, because mental health is not something easy that anyone can just do by themselves. I take that from experience of my own. I don't like doing things alone, but because of my past experiences, we have basically, it's hard for us to ask for help. It's hard for us to ask for when things are off and we're struggling. That I have an issue myself of being able to understand what I need sometimes, honestly. Sure, core essentials I obviously would know, but sometimes it's hard for me to express further beyond that. And some of these things, like, I'm going to be going through a self-discovery of my own, and I hope that you guys can come on the journey with me. I'm really excited to see what, like, I can make of this. If it helps people, if it just helps myself, then good for me. But I hope to help some people down the line with this. So let's get started with this video, and it'll kind of like summarize like what we're gonna be talking about today. But a lot of people are afraid of asking for help, so this is what that has to do with.
You carry all the groceries in one trip until your fingers turn purple. You move furniture by yourself, risking a slipped disc. When you're drowning in work and someone asks, "Can I help?" your automatic response is always the same. "No thanks, I got it." Your friends think you are strong. Some might even think you are arrogant. They are wrong. You aren't doing this because you are strong. You are doing this because you are terrified. In psychology, this is called hyper-independence, and it is not a personality trait. It is a trauma response.
Trauma response.
The origin, the unreliable narrator. Hyper-independence usually...
Now, I want to explain something, you guys, like, for a moment when we're talking about trauma. I don't want this to lead into, like, a victim type situation also. This is not that. I don't want to make victims out of people. I want to teach people. Their trauma doesn't mean that they're a victim of something of some sort. Like, yes, we all have a lot of fucking shit happen to us in our lives. However, when we're talking about victim stuff, it's like got a different ring to it nowadays sometimes. That it's used in a manner of almost not seriousness, and almost in like let me see how I want to like phrase this, because I don't want to word it wrong, but victims sometimes just make it a bigger deal than it actually is. Oh, someone hurt my feelings. Okay. Now, are we going to go into feelings, or are we going to actually go into what they did sucked? Because in the facts of things, of how we live in our society, and I'm going to use usually in United States as my standard because that's where I live, sometimes people will make themselves victims of something that's so minor that they ruin their day because somebody else controlled how they felt. And that can be harmful to people that are actually victims to things of regards to, hey, like, I got violently, attacked or something in that regard, where I've seen it in like the society where it's like, okay, they called me XYZ, and then someone's like, okay, well, you literally like ran into me and you assaulted me, so why would I not do that? And somehow that does not become like the more prominent thing. It's always about the person that had their feelings hurt, not a physical altercation. And it's sometimes a little bit weird to me. However, let's get back on topic. Trauma is not always something that will be accounted for in mental health. But trauma has a lot to do with, especially when it comes to our childhood. And that's kind of where this is going. But hyperindependence, that is me a lot of the time, because when I was a teenager, I pretty much raised myself in regards to having to do things, having to take care of myself, having to almost go to school on my own, having to advocate for myself to even go to school on time or not go to fucking vacations because I needed to go to school to finish school, things like this. So it'll always just remember that it won't always display the same for everybody. Everyone's trauma is different and unique, just like every person is different and unique. No person's story should be ever thought that they're lying, especially when they're trying to tell a story about their trauma. However, you can find indicators of people that do lie about trauma, which those people aren't very good people. We'll just say. But yeah, let's continue on the video here. But hyperindependence is kind of one of the things that I had that kind of connected with here with this video.
Usually starts in childhood. At some point, you learned a brutal lesson. Adults are unreliable. Maybe your caregivers were emotionally absent. Maybe they were chaotic. Maybe you were the parentified child who had to raise your siblings. You learned that expressing a need resulted in disappointment or neglect. So your brain rewired itself. It decided that the only person you can trust to keep you safe is you. Dependence became synonymous with danger. The burden complex. You have a deep-seated belief that your needs are a burden to others.
We're in an ad break, so I'm gonna wait to pause. I'm gonna wait to unpause. So I'll just wait for this timer to continue while we are waiting for the ad. If anyone is watching, I greatly appreciate you. Any support is highly appreciated during the struggle times. We'll say struggle times right now, but
You believe that
it's struggle times for a lot of people, so I'm not putting anyone else down on that regard. Honestly, should probably find out if I'm not sure if the ad would play on the same time as the VOD. I have to research that. Forgot to switch my category. There we go. All right. We got 30 more seconds on this ad. Alrighty, there we go. Alright guys, welcome back if you watched the ad. So let's continue on this video here.
Relationships are transactional. You think people only...
Honestly, this was such a thing, like, for me. Like, not transactional, yes, okay? Like, any time that people would ask for help, or I would ask somebody for help, it would always feel like I was a burden to them because I did ask for help, and I somehow made their life worse because I asked for help. This is kind of like that concept.
tolerate you as long as you are low maintenance. If you ask for help, you feel you are using up your allowance of love. You would rather suffer in silence than risk being too much for someone else. You make yourself small so you don't take up space. The control freak. Anxiety in disguise. If I wanted...
So this was... I'm gonna bring up this topic just really quick. This was like one of the things that, like, when you've had like lots of trauma in your life, you want things a specific way. You want to control the way that things are, especially when you feel you've been wrong so many times that nobody else knows how to handle the way you like things done. So you try to end up controlling the scenario of any situation that you're in a way that is toxic to others that you're around. And I could see this within myself years ago. And obviously I'm still working on myself. I'm not fucking perfect. Like, I'm still a fucking mess. I'm still going through stages where I feel like I go back to step one of redoing my life, and like having to restart and redo it because something sets me back or something puts me there again where I'm like, okay, restart button, let's go again. But control was one of those things that you just kind of have to understand that you can't control everything. Sure, when you live at your house and you live alone, sure, you can control a shit ton a lot. But this was like a downfall to me in regards to being alone, right? You can be alone and you can control your own things. However, when you go to be alone and you control your own things, you create a reality that is what's safe to your mind and what's safe to that control, if that makes sense. You put it in a box and you don't let anyone else touch it, and that's toxic in its own, because when you go out into society and you try to have conversations with people, you will end up trying to control the conversation in a regard to what you want the way that you want other people to talk to you, and you control the way that they try to talk to you, and it just isn't going to work. People have freedom of speech. They have the way that they want to talk. They have the way that they want to describe things. If they want to use bitch to describe a female dog or a female, sure, it's fucking language, you know? But it's how you handle it from that trauma that makes you a different person. Like, it's not about how somebody else makes you feel about your trauma. It's how you work on yourself to make yourself better because of your trauma. And that's the whole concept of why I want to do this, is because even sometimes I still need to work on this, and I still need to bring consciousness to this within myself, because sure, I could be sitting here on my live stream and want to control everything, but I can't control the next person that walks in and says, hey, you a motherfucking bitch. I can't control that I won't see that. Sure, I can have auto mod, remove all the language, and really protect myself. But it's on me to handle when something external happens to me and it affects my feelings and affects my mood. I need to understand how to control that, because I can't expect anybody else to control it for me. Only me. So that's kind of the concept about this control part that trauma can
Done right,
create.
I have to do it myself. You say this
And that's how
all
it
the
is.
time.
I I can't tell you how many times in school I would tell the teacher, hey, I'm working on this project alone. And why I would do that is because I saw every motherfucker in that fucking classroom use all the fucking smart kids to do their fucking projects, and then when it was time to put in the effort, it would just be the smart kids, and all the fucking actual, like, fuck-arounds would just be like, oh, what do you need me to do? And they would do, like, a half a thing. And then be like, okay, here's the thing, and then that would be their part of the presentation. And, like, I'd be doing, like, 75% of everything else. Or, you know, the other kids that I would see putting in good effort for school to learn, they'd be getting the same, like, fucking thing. And it's like, okay. So at that point, I'm like, well, if I just do it by myself, I don't gotta give anyone else credit. Like, I can say I did it all by myself. I should be proud of myself. But again, that can be wrong, because in the perspective of things, when we're looking at perspective, I think I'm peeking a little bit. When we're looking at perspective, it's very important to see the different side of it. So when I did that and I said, no, you can't work with me, you can't be near me, you can't use my resources, you can't use my information, I wasn't allowing the students in that classroom to see my perspective or my information that could teach them something that influenced them to want to learn more. Right? Sometimes it's not about the, like, people that are teaching. Like, sometimes teachers, they make it, like, stuff where they say things and it goes all the way over the kid's head, and then the kid, like, brings up this crazy perspective that some other kid, like, will connect with. And that's the part of, like, teamwork that we all need to understand. We can't just do it ourselves and expect that we're gonna see every perspective, because I mean we're a planet of billions of people. I don't think that's relevant. Like, you should always see somebody else's perspective.
You think it's about high standards. Actually, it's about anxiety. When you let someone else help, you lose control of the outcome. That loss of control triggers your fight or flight response. You micromanage not because you're bossy, but because deep down you believe that if you let go of the steering wheel for 1 second, the car will crash. Doing it yourself is exhausting, but for you it is safer than the anxiety of trusting someone else.
Right?
The vulnerability
So that's where I came in to, like, show you my own perspective of that. Again, when I show you guys these videos, I, like, kind of put my own, like, story a little bit into it, so you can understand, like, from my point of view of what I went through to have this kind of connect with me. And when it was, like, the control thing, like, obviously you don't want somebody else to take over your work. You don't want somebody else to take credit for you. You have anxiety that they won't do it right, you know, and that's kind of how it goes. But here's another one.
On the rare occasion you do ask for help, how do you feel afterward? Relief? No. You feel shame. You feel exposed. Brené Brown calls this a vulnerability hangover. You feel weak. You feel like you owe them a debt. You immediately try to pay them back or over-apologize just to balance the ledger. You treat kindness like a loan with high interest rates.
Yep.
The wall. You have built a fortress around yourself. The problem with a fortress is that while it keeps the bad guys out, it keeps the love out too.
I mean, this is kind of the same perspective as I was talking about, like, not letting like students in your class help you with a project. This is kind of that scenario. Like, you put up a wall, they can't help you to, like, see a different perspective. That's kind of like another part of it.
Hyper-independence is lonely. You are surrounded by people, but you are emotionally starving because you won't let anyone feed you. You are the strong friend that everyone leans on, but nobody checks on because you made them think you don't need checking on.
Honestly, when I watched that part, I was like, holy shit, how many friends I probably have, like, made feel disrespected almost, not in a way that's like, I probably lost some friends because they wanted to help, but I never told them I needed help. And they just thought, like, okay, well, she's got it. She doesn't need any help. You know, because obviously when someone tells you it's fine, most people are going to believe it.
The conclusion. Healing starts with a terrifying realization. You cannot survive alone. Humans are a pack species.
Yep.
We are biologically wired for co-regulation.
Wolves.
Asking
Wolves, yo. People wonder why I got the spirit of the wolf in me. It's pack mentality. You're a human. All pack mentality, yo. Yeah, this was one of the videos from Mindfold. It's called The Tragic Fear of Asking for Help. It's just a 3-minute, 30-second video. I just wanted to bring up to show, like, kind of the point of today, and, like, if anyone wants to talk about it or kind of conversate about the situation that they have gone through about asking for help or whatever the case should be, feel free to do so. You know, I'm here to just kind of show a different perspective. I think that in other scenarios here with all this other stuff, we're gonna go through other topics that you see kind of like on this side here. I will only be going to creators on YouTube that have the content creation part of filters on, to be able to kind of see the differences. So you go here and you have Creative Commons, and these will be videos that I can kind of share with all of you guys. So we'll kind of go through these, but here's another one, like asking for help. Here's a 2-minute one.
Every now and then, you're doing something and you get stuck. Maybe you don't understand the directions and don't know what to do next, or you have a problem with a friend and don't know how to solve it. That's the perfect time to think about the size of your problem and ask for help if you need it. Problems come in all sizes, and the solution to the problem will depend on the size of the problem you're currently having. You wouldn't call 911 if you didn't have a pencil for class. That would be a really big solution for a pretty small problem. Sometimes problems are small and can be solved with a small solution, like you forgot the next step in an assignment, and the small solution could be going back and rereading the directions. A medium-sized problem could be having an argument with a friend and needing to take some space before you try to work it out. If you need help solving a problem, there are many people that can help you. Depending on the size of the problem, you could ask a classmate, friend, teacher, school counselor, parent, or older sibling. Everyone can give help. In fact, most people like to help others. It makes them feel good. So ask for help when you need it. You will feel better, and so will the person helping you. Everyone needs help sometimes, and it's okay to ask, especially before things get bigger or problems get out of control. Learning means doing something new every day. Sometimes when we're doing something new, we get stuck and don't know what to do. If we get stuck, we can use this skill for learning, being assertive, to ask for help. Being assertive means asking for what you need or want in a calm, firm, respectful way. Face the person you're talking to. Keep your head up and shoulders back. When you have a problem you cannot solve on your own, remember to be assertive and ask for help.
Be assertive and ask for help. If you know someone who's struggling, please trust the test. Guys, I'm gonna be putting like a bunch of links and stuff to like mental health resources and such. Don't feel embarrassed to ever reach out to these people. They do actually care. They wouldn't be there if they didn't. I've honestly never used them because like I'm bad about asking for help myself, so going to places that are strange to me like this can be difficult, but again, it's a journey that we're all going to go through, and we're all going to figure out when we feel okay or what steps we take to get to feel okay to do those things. I think it's really important just to understand yourself more in the grand scheme of things, and throughout that you'll understand how to communicate to ask for help. It's very interesting when it comes to the different perspectives of trauma that can bring out in somebody. Obviously hypervigilance is going to be one of those things when it comes to dealing with people that have trauma, or just that has dealt with a lot of shit in life. So yeah, I think it is going to be very important to do that. Another thing is, like, I think a big issue about things that we deal with today in mental health is, like, a lot of fear-based things have created who we are today, like, through hearing what society says about stuff, or hearing what your parents told you throughout your childhood, or things like that, has created these almost like fear-instilled practices within our mind that almost make us feel comfortable. And I'd hope that we can come to the part where we don't base our protections based off fear, but based off the education that we learned how to be better from. So instead of watching a video about, oh yeah, they're gonna lock me up because I'm mentally ill, no. If you can understand your mental health, and you can ask for help, and you can make sure that you are given the resources to be able to deal with what you're going through, it's going to make it a lot easier than being afraid of what you're being told. Education is a huge way to learn things instead of be afraid of things. And I'd hope that we can go on this journey together to do so. But some facts that I learned, as well as doing some research online, was that Stanford research found that children young as 7 had already believed asking for help makes them look weak or incompetent. This belief isn't developed in adulthood, it's conditioned into us before we can even question it. I think there was also studies that I'd have to get the source. The source on this one, by the way, is Kayla Good, Stanford University. She's a psychological science major. She basically did this research with it. But I can totally understand this concept, because I believe that my childhood would have been immensely different if I didn't spend the first 5 years that I did with my grandma. If I had a different influence in my childhood than my grandma, I think things would have been very, very different than if I had been raised by non-family or something like that. And these things really have to do with, like, the age of somebody, especially when we're young. That is one of our most vulnerable times to be susceptible to things that can create trauma, because our brains don't understand things fully to create the education needed to comprehend how to work through it, or what it actually means, because we haven't had those life experiences that we have throughout, like, our adulthood. So it can kind of create that even more when we're kids, to instill certain behaviors within us when we're children. Another fact from Gulliver, Griffiths and Christensen, Psychiatric Volume 10. A systematic review of 22 studies found that there's top 3 barriers with young people seeking help are fear of being judged, not knowing something is wrong, and believe that they should have handled it alone. Those are 3 socially conditioned and not personal flaws. So again, that's going through your childhood. Think about it like, I'm going to use a general example, I guess. Okay, so a family of 5, you have 3 kids and 2 parents, a mother and a father. And those 3 kids are constantly being asked to help the parents, right? Now, if they're constantly being asked to help, and they're like the ones to always help, like, why would that person want to think that they need help? Because they're always being asked for help. Sometimes there's an anti-correlation there. Like, just because that helper feels like all they're good for is to help others, not to ask for help. Because why would they need to ask for help when they're helping others and not themselves? Because they already have the information that they would need from the person that is asking them for help. Is my perspective on things. Okay, so that was another one. We got another fact here from let's see, Wade and Hackler, Journal of Counseling Psychology, APA. Stigma is a significant predictor of attitudes towards seeking help. Public stigma creates self-stigma, which then shapes whether someone will reach out at all. And this is studied across 676 undergraduates. So this is just basically kind of like, from what I'm understanding about this fact is, and I could be wrong, but this is my own like kind of what is the meaning of it? The public stigma, like, so what you would maybe see on like social medias and like other personal people's stories and stuff that they would tell like on maybe on Facebook or whatever. Oh, I asked my boyfriend for a ride home and he was a bitch to me and didn't give me a ride home. So, and then they go down this rabbit hole of, oh, well, okay, so boyfriends that are rude to their girlfriends and don't help them. They might go down and try to research all this stuff, and then they see like all these people that have had traumatic experiences with their significant other not helping. So at that point, they feel like they've had enough evidence to say, okay, well, I don't have to ask my significant other for help, because look at all these other instances where all these other people asked for help and they didn't get help from their significant other. Okay? But what you guys have to realize, and this is one of the things that I've had to realize in my own trauma, is that not every instance that you have from your trauma is going to be like everybody in the world. Now let me say that again. Not every instance that you've had in your trauma will be like everybody in the world. And I have now found that in my own life, because I have actually been able to work through certain things that I've had issues with, where I can say, I can ask somebody for help now. And why can I do that? Because I found someone that supports me to be able to do that. I found a support system. You can ask people for help still. You just need to find the right people, the right energy, the right, common ground amongst people for them to understand who you are and what you need. It's not always going to be cut and dry. It's going to be difficult work to ask that person for help. But one of the big things for me that it was is that you find trust in someone And within that trust, you slowly feel like, okay, maybe I'll just ask them, like, hey, can you call me tomorrow and we can chat? And just start small. Like, you don't need to ask them for, like, hey, I need you to come over to my house and clean for me, okay? Or I need you to move for me. It could be something small. Hey, bestie or whoever, I'm having a rough day. Can you just be on the phone with me? And that's all they need. Like, you're not asking them for money. You're just asking them for their time. And honestly, if they're your friend, I think a basic thing of friends is they can spend time with you. They should be able to spend time with you. At least when you're struggling. But yeah, it's definitely hard to ask for help. I've had hard times asking for help. But yeah, let's see. So the resistance to asking for help isn't a character flaw. It's instilled in us before we're even adults. And then it's just influenced through media and social norms and things like that. It's just, you gotta question your own reality for a little bit, though, with that stuff. You have to say, is that really what I want? Or is that just me being influenced by how I feel about me seeing 5 different people tell a story that made this true? Or is that the general population of how everything is? So that's just one little aspect of it. But let's see what else we can talk about here. I'm not really showing you these things on the other talking points at the moment. I don't have like a good video to put up at the moment. Let's see. Maybe I can put some just nice like lo-fi music while we talk about other things. Let's see. Do we got filter for lo-fi? Yeah, let's just put on some lo-fis while we chat about things, you know? Turn this down a little bit. Get a nice little background with the coffee little shop there. A little nice relaxing time. You know, just enjoy. Sometimes like the weather is just like one of those things where you can just go and enjoy, you know? I think maybe a different perspective of it that I just thought about is like the way that you can kind of prepare yourself to try to ask for help is like maybe talk to yourself in the mirror, try to hype yourself up, talk to yourself about a conversation about how you would, you know, have that conversation with your friend. Think about different outcomes that, you know, they might say versus what you would say, and then how would you say them, because you never know. It's all in critical thinking, you guys. Like with mental health, like it's a big thing to know how you feel, know how your mind works, and understand what triggers certain behaviors and emotions. And through all of that, you can become a stronger person, I believe. But so let's see some of the other topics we got going on here. So some common disbeliefs I would say that people have is that it kind of goes back to that being alone factor of successful people got there alone, but I don't think that's possible, especially in today's age when we literally need people to make money. Like, we can't sell a product without somebody buying it. We can't be an influencer without influencing someone. Like, I don't know if there's a job that doesn't ever benefit somebody else besides yourself. if that makes sense. And if there is, like, I might be just not thinking, like, enough right now about it. But you still need other people. No matter what you're doing in life, you still need other people. To be able to go get a driver's license, you need DMV. You need all the workers at DMV. You need them. I mean, look, you go out the fucking door. You walk down the street. Well, you got shoes on, right? You needed other people to make those shoes for you. So it's like, at that regard, you can take that as a general concept that everybody needs each other. So there is no alone in this world, as much as you want to say that there is. And believe me, I could get my bestie on here right now and she'd tell you all about how I try to be alone and run away to the woods. But it's not the way. It's not the way, you guys. But yeah, like, a self-made person is like more of, if there's someone that ever says like, oh, I did it alone, okay, sure, they did it alone. I mean, I've been alone and I've made it through some struggles without having to, you know, really try to be there for a lot of people. But it would have been way easier if I just asked for help. I'm gonna be real. So here is another fact. Media and culture narratives deliberately erase the networks of support behind every success story. Researchers call this the illusion of self-made individual, and the studies show it causes shame about basic human needs like guidance and emotional support. I mean, that's not wrong. Like, I mean, if we want to take a broad example here, let's just take homelessness for example. Why are people homeless? I'm sorry. Actually, not homelessness. Let's not even go to a broad spectrum of homelessness. Let's go to the most basic thing that we need. Why are people starving? Is it because of the point that I just made there, or is it because people can't ask for help? So in that regard, honestly, I think even people asking for food, they may feel bad, but they know it's a common necessary thing to have to live, so they have to ask for it. However, people make it feel like they shouldn't ask for it because, oh, what, you can't even feed yourself? How pathetic are you? Like, you can't even get a job to get yourself a burger? No, man. No. Who knows what fucking story they went through to be there? I don't know if you guys know, but going through a phase where you lose a lot of your fucking identity in life creates a depression that even your basic necessities are vulnerable to not being met because your brain is in a state of depression that almost doesn't care. In a way, it's rough. I've been there. I've experienced it myself. I've felt it. I mean, obviously, again, everyone's gonna have their different perspectives, but to be able to just ask for a simple, hey, like, can I get some food? And if we're not willing to support each other with food, at least, what kind of fucking society are we? You know? Anyways, another fact we got here is stigma intersects directly with economic hardship. Oh, that, by the way, that last fact was from BMC Psychiatry. So that was that. And then we have stigma intersects directly with economics, hardship, racism, discrimination, and making help seeking harder for communities that under the most pressure. The cost of asking isn't equal for everyone. And this is from, I can't even pronounce this. I think I'm just gonna put it in the chat. I'm bad at pronouncing names, so I think it's Mowelepika? I don't know. I can't even pronounce it, you guys. It's pretty, but it's a systematic review, kind of just showing like how, when we go into all these fucking categories of social norms and stuff, of like how people view others, like, is it more likely in today's age that a white person is going to help another white person, or they're gonna see a white person and a black person and a Chinese person or Asian person or whoever, whatever race they are? Like, say that there's 4 different type of people, okay, 4 different types of races, and a white person walks up to another white person. Are they gonna help the white person, the black person, the Asian person? Like, who are they gonna help most? And are they gonna choose to only help one, or are they gonna help all of them? And I think that's the concept of why that fact exists, is because when we're even asking for help, there's an unconscious bias of race in there. Discrimination that, oh, they're homeless, why should I give them anything? They're already poor. Like, what the hell, man? Like, no. It doesn't make any sense. So then we got traditional norms around self-reliance and emotional suppression. Discourage vulnerability, and this emotional suppression measurably worsens anxiety and depression over time. Yes, 100%. I haven't really talked about this all that much, but I was married to a narcissist for 13 years, and this was very much true when it came to that. I could not emotionally express myself the way I needed to ask for help, because it was like, get over it. Get over it. Like, why are you bitching about this right now? And it just would make me feel like, well, why am I asking for help anymore? Why should I even try? And then that leads to anxiety and depression. So, that was the same source from the last one. But yeah, honestly, the self-made myth isn't just wrong. It's a story that benefits people that want you isolated. Community is a threat to that. Asking for help is actually the act of resistance. That's the other side of things. That's the flip side of things. But we all create this within our own minds too. We have the free will to choose if this is true to our minds or if it's not. If you believe this in your own way, then so be it. But also make sure that your beliefs aren't harming yourself even more, if that makes sense. You're not creating a reality within yourself that doesn't allow you to create accountability for yourself, or creates where you're living in your own world, in your own mind, and nobody else can touch that, because that can be very dangerous. But honestly, all this stuff is like a fear-based thing, and it's all based on a lie. Your energy shift, like when you notice people in a room, they're scared of something, like you notice that because it's how you feel when you ask for help. Like, when you start to feel certain emotions arise, allow it to sit with you and understand it for a moment and be like, oh, this is what that feels like, and like actually understand it for a moment instead of just being like, oh, I don't understand, why the fuck am I feeling like this? Because there's a lot of times that I'm like, God, I'm so like fucking aggravated, like I am feeling like 3 different things at a time, and I can't understand it all because I don't actually take the time to depict it in my own mind. But yeah, people will say no to you. I'm gonna let you know that now. Like, people will say no, but that is okay. When people say no to, when you ask for help, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. I also want you to know that. And that shouldn't be your fear. Your fear should not be you hearing a no. Your fear should be that you never asked for help. That you never gave your chance that ability to ask. Or learn how to ask. I shouldn't say it shouldn't be fear. You should never act in fear, guys. I'm also gonna say that too. You should be acting through education of what you learned and how you feel about things. And making sure that it's done in a proper society's way. Don't just be like, I need to ask for help because I need it now. Like, obviously find a good way to fucking go and ask for help. Don't just be a piece of shit about it. You know? But when you go and ask for help and people say no, that doesn't mean you're a burden. That doesn't mean that you're bad. That doesn't mean you're a desperate person. It just means that you asked for help and that person wasn't able to help you. But that doesn't mean that the next person that you ask that same help for isn't gonna say yes. Stanford professor Frank Flynn ran multiple real world studies and found people underestimate by up to 50% how likely will someone say yes when directly asked for help. We're cutting reality in half before we even open our mouths. That was a study done. Flynn and Bond's Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, Volume 95 APA. That's that fact. And Stanford also said social psychologist I always forget how to pronounce that. They found people also underestimate how good it makes someone feel to be asked. Helping others activates the same reward path as being asked for help. Or being helped. So both things can be true. When you ask for help, you're making somebody else feel good because you wanted their help. In the same regard that it's good for you to ask for help because you were not able to before. You guys are both getting a mutually beneficial aspect of your life. Because people inherently like to help others, or they should at least want to help others. Because that's how a society works, is teamwork. You're not burdening them if you ask them for help and they say no. It might be the highlight of their day. I know that I'm a fucking, like, people pleasers are this way specifically. If you know a people pleaser and you ask them to help you, oh, it will make their day so happy. They will feel like the best fucking person in the world because they got to help somebody. Hell yeah. Psychologist Jamal Zaki research shows empathizing with the helping others and is intuitive human response, and dozens of other studies confirm people feel genuinely happy after acts of kindness. Imagine that, guys. When you do something nice for somebody, you actually feel that kindness. Because it's the energy that you put out into the world that's coming back to you in a good feeling. But here, the flip side is the fear is real. The thing the fear is pointing at is mostly not. So, like, the way that you feel is true, You may feel fearful. However, it's not relevant because not every scenario is going to be fear-inducing, if that makes sense. Meaning that if you're scared to ask for help because you're worried that somebody will say no, not every person that you ask for help is going to say no. And that's the fear within it. You've been protecting yourself from a rejection that statistically probably wasn't coming. And in doing that, you've been carrying things alone that you didn't have to carry. So just ask for help, you guys. Honestly. I mean, I know, don't go fucking asking like some random stranger for like $1 million. They're probably gonna say no. Probably a lot of people would say no to that question. However, do small things first. Don't ask for big things right away. If it makes you feel more comfortable to ask for small things, just like a, hey, can I call you tomorrow? And they say yes. You ask them a question, you ask them something to almost kind of help you, because that's the help in general, is that you're asking them a question that they pretty much will say yes to. And within that, it kind of breaks that boundary of you always feeling like someone is telling you no when asking for something. And just think of it ways that you can do small things. Like, for example, going to the restaurant and asking your server to help you open your ketchup bottle. Is your server gonna tell you no? No? Why would they? And if they do, don't tip them. Like, just don't tip them, because that's kind of rude. Like, if you're asking for help from your server to do something with your food, yeah, sure, it's something small and weird. But, like, come on, that's just something small that they can do extra to help them get a tip. Hey, waitress, can I get a lemon in my water? Are they really gonna say no to that? You're asking for help, and you're asking for help in a way that's probably gonna be a yes, and it breaks that fear that you're always gonna hear a no. Ask for things that are most likely gonna be yeses as well, to help you break this fear of always hearing a no. Then go on to a bigger ask. Maybe ask your best friend if you can borrow $5. Maybe ask your friend if you can get a ride to the movie theater. You know, like these things that maybe a friend would do because, you know, that's what friends do. Just find your ways to feel comfortable about asking for help before jumping the gun and asking for like the most help you've ever asked for in the beginning. Start small. It doesn't need to be crazy right away. And that's the way it should be for mental health. Like, it shouldn't be leaps and bounds. Guys, leaps and bounds don't get us anywhere. It gets us broken legs because we shouldn't be leaping and binding without any structure of understanding the small stuff first. It's like running before walking. So let's just take small steps for this aspect. Start to realize when you become fearful to ask for help. Start to realize your daily behaviors of how your emotions are when you're asking for help. Start to understand your mental processes a little bit more, and then throughout this, the better understanding comes through, and you'll understand in your own way the safe way for your mind to be okay with asking for help. But anyways, guys, I think I'm gonna end it here. I'm probably gonna be doing this more with gaming in the background, but today I wanted to make it more of a personalized, more I'm talking about things. I know I didn't really have much up on the screen. I'll get things more prepared visually and stuff as we go about this, because it's not just gonna be we do this 1 month and it's gone. We got Pride Month next month. I don't know, July. I don't know what July has, but I know that in October, that's ADHD Awareness Month. I want to do something with that. Plus, there's gonna be gaming, and I also have been learning coding, so maybe coding will be a part of this too as well. But yeah, I think for now I'm gonna end it here. I want to thank everyone for hanging out, listening, chatting, whatever you guys do. If you guys enjoyed, let me know. And let's see, do we have anyone? Hold on, let me see if I have someone that I want to support. Possibly. Yep. Oh, hold on. Yeah. So we're gonna go do a raid on my good buddy DZ. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, night, morning, wherever it is in the world for you. Wow. I always forget if it's that. Okay. Hi. Hi, baby. Thank you for the follow. We gonna go raid Diesel. Thank you all again. And thank you, baby, for the follow. Appreciate you. Let me get this correct. I'm trying to spell it correctly to make sure that it goes through. Give me a second. Do I have a raid command? Yes, I do. Okay, so raid. If you guys want to do raid commands, if you were subbed, you can get the first link, the first part, and then if you're not subbed, you can get the second part. And we gonna go and raid some diesels up in this bitch. Go support him with lots of love. And yeah, thank you guys, and I'll see you over there. Oh, god damn it. See, this is the thing, like, I haven't streamed in forever and I forgot how to do all these things. Hold on, guys. Oh my god. Bad streamer, I know. Okay. I think that's it. Oh no. It's the raid channel. Jeez, it's been so long since I've even had to do a raid command. Alright. I think I got it now. I'll see you guys over there. Have a good one.
Life's plan. Those are